Are you a solicitor in England and Wales, and would you like to start up your very own law firm? Well, today I'm delighted to welcome back to Alison McWhinney podcast Sushila Abraham, who has done just that and set up a very highly successful law firm in Surbiton. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Alison McWhinney podcast, where we have conversations about business and well-being success. And I'm delighted to welcome back to the podcast Sushila Abraham. Now, back in 2025, Sushila gave an excellent advice on the Alison McWhinney podcast on how to train and become a successful solicitor without the burnout. Today, I'm delighted to say that Sushila returns to talk about how to start a law firm, speaking very much from experience. Sushila qualified as a lawyer in 1982. She has been practicing in law firms in London and Surrey since 1986, qualifying as a solicitor in 1994. Her specialist areas are family law, private client, wills, lasting powers of attorney and probate, and conveyancing, the buying and selling of properties. She is a member of Resolution Family Law. She values the provision of high-quality legal services to members of the community, and it's always been her personal aim to put her clients' interests first before profit. Sushila was president of the Surrey Law Society and chairman of the Solicitors' Sole Practitioners Group, and is currently a council member for Surrey of the Law Society of England and Wales. She describes herself as a very community-minded person who wants to use her legal knowledge and talents to help people. In addition to her work as a local solicitor, Sushila has served as a local councillor in Kingston upon Thames, having been elected 3 times by local residents. She was deputy mayor and mayor of the Royal Borough of Kingston upon Thames. And I understand, Sushila, you've also had some awards. Perhaps you'd like to tell us about those.
Thank you. Yes, I did. In 2018, I had an award from the Surrey Law Society for client care in the whole of Surrey. And in 2025, I was awarded by Surrey Law Society an Action Step for the Leader of the Year award.
Wonderful. Many congratulations. Okay, Sushila, if I can hand over to you, I know that you will take us step by step through the process of how to start a law firm. So if I could hand over to you now.
Thank you, Alison, and thank you for having me. There are lots of details out there in the Law Society itself. The Law Society has produced a huge amount of information relating to starting a law firm. So I would recommend anyone going and looking at those websites. But just to give you a quick 12-month start of how you can start a business. So we'll start off with planning and readiness, which is phase 1, and that's from 0 to 2 months of when you want to decide. So you need a solid legal background with experience, usually 3 to 5 years, practicing in your chosen area. More importantly, you must feel confident handling cases independently and managing clients, deadlines, and risk. Experience in client development and running parts of a practice is a huge plus. Decide your niche area and show you have the right experience in that area and prepare a business plan. Before anything else, this is about being honest with yourself. So I'll just quickly run through what you need. Access readiness, and it's about minimum 3 to 5 years of relevant legal experience, confident in client management, case handling, and regulatory compliance. You need to choose your area of law. You need to focus on a practice area. You need to think about market demand. They've got different areas you could get into: family, employment, property, wills, and probate. Consider specializing first before you start broadening. You need to decide a business model. So you could be a sole practitioner like me, where it's a simple, you have full control, but you have personal liability. You could be an LLP, and that's shared liability among partners, and there'll be then there's tax flexibility. You could be a limited company. A separate legal entity can protect personal assets, may be more attractive for investors. You do need to obtain proper tax advice on the latter too. You need to then identify the roles like the COP, which is the compliance officer of legal practice, and you need to have a COFA. COFA is the compliance officer of finance and administration. But as a sole practitioner, I do both. You need to create a simple business plan: services, target clients, marketing strategy, initial budget, cash flow plans. So all these you need to have an idea of. You need to research competitors and gaps in the market, local market, to find your unique value proposition. Secondly, phase 2 would be regulatory and compliance. So that setup will take about 1 to 3 months. Get legally authorized and compliant to operate. So that's very important. You must apply to the SRA, which is the Solicitors Regulation Authority, for authorization. It involves you proving your qualifications, experience, financial stability, and plans for compliance and client protection. This could take several months, and I would recommend going to the proper websites in the Law Society for doing that. The SRA authorization, you apply to the SRA, you have to prepare documents to prove your experience, your financial stability, and a compliance plan. Then you need to think of insurance and risks. Professional indemnity insurance is mandatory for solicitors. It protects against clients and professional negligence claims against you. You will also need general business insurance like public liability, employer's liability, if you're hiring staff. You need to have an anti-money laundering compliance too. Anti-money laundering, you must register with the HMRC as a regulated firm, conduct client due diligence, maintain records, and have an AML policy and training in place. Non-compliance carries real serious legal practice penalties. Register with HMRC for AML supervision, draft AML policies, conduct staff training if you have staff, and you must set up your compliance officers, your COLP and COFA. So COLP is a compliance office for legal practice who ensures regulatory compliance, and the COFA is a compliance officer for finance and administration, oversees your accounts, your client account, and client money. So you can hire consultants for these to help you. That might reduce delays, but they do come with a price. The next thing was business infrastructure, phase 3, 2 to 4 months. You need to establish operations, technology, and processes, select a good software system. The Law Society has put out new technology, a best guide lately. Go into that and check those case management systems, how to find one. There are quite a number out there. There's One Advanced, Sage for accounting, document management, e-signatures, CRM. Then you need to choose an office setup. Home-based, you can do it, but you must be careful about that. If you're doing that, you need to see that there are, you must always see that client protection, client data, and confidentiality is kept. You can do remote, or you can have a rented office or your own premises. Consider expectations and hybrid flexibility, because some clients will want to be remote. You need to set up a branding and website presence. So consider a name for your firm. In my days, it was not easy. We just couldn't choose a name. We had to carry our own name in the practice when I started in 99. So professional websites with services, contact information, blog for content, marketing, LinkedIn, social media profiles. So you need to think about that. You need to keep costs down, very lean initially. So you could do software, cloud softwares, and you need to reduce overheads. So the Law Society has those guides too. You need financial planning and funding, that's month 3 to 5. Ensure funding, pricing, cash flow systems are also ready. Budget setups, it could cost you about 10 to 50,000, be even more now. SRA fees, insurance, software, marketing, and some kind of minimal office setup. You need to think about your hourly rates. How you're going to do it. Again, that's there, the models out there with the SRA, they give you an idea, the Law Society does, of hourly rates in the area you're in. So you need to think about fixed fees also. So, you'll have clients who'll need that. You need to maintain 3 to 6 months of operating costs as a buffer. You need to open a separate client funds for operational accounts carefully. You need to have a client account and an office account, and these must be separate. You cannot use client money for personal matters. Just be very careful. Consider funding. You could have a personal savings in your bank account. You could have a professional loan, and there are other legal help around. Marketing, phase 5, 4 to 6 months, and client acquisition. Build your initial client base and reputation. That's very important. So you need to leverage networks, former colleagues, professionals, associations, alumni, your local chamber of commerce, BNI, quite a number of them out there. Offer free consultations and, initially pro bono work to just gain some visibility. You need to have an online presence. You need to have optimized SEOs, etc. You need to publish your content, and to attract clients, you need to let them know who you are. You need to have offline marketing too. So, networking events, attend those local talks. Your local law society can help. Attend those meetings with them. Be a member of your local law society. Speak to local firms. They are very good. They help also. They might find you as a challenge to them, but it doesn't matter. You can get referrals, so friends, relatives, colleagues could refer clients to you, knowing how good you are. So initially, the tip is initial clients often come from a trusted network. Online marketing builds momentum over time, and even small firms benefit from a professional website with clear, perimeters. Phase 6 would be launch operations, month 5 to 7. Begin serving clients while monitoring your systems and compliance. Compliance is very important. I can't stress more about that. You have to open your business. You can start taking cases in your chosen field and maintain compliance checklists. Again, COFA and your duties as an AML officer. Track your productivity and costs, monitor billable hours, fix fees and expenses, and adjust your pricing if needed. You also have to remember about invoicing on time. So I have a system where every 3 months I will try and invoice my clients. If I can't, I'll let them know. So you need to refine your internal process, streamline your case intake. Don't rush and take everything that comes through the door. See if you can have the capacity to do it. Only then take it on. Have document templates, invoicing and reporting. All these should be there, ready. If you need to be VAT registered, you need to speak to the HMRC VAT for that. Outsource administrative tasks. You can do that initially. You could get a bookkeeper to help you, but you could have them, you can outsource it. Growth and stabilization, 7 to 12 months. You can build a sustainable revenue, attract repeat clients, and establish reputation. You must evaluate your profitability. And it takes around 12 months to manage that with cash flow issues coming up. So you can do complementary legal services. You could help people. You can hire staff. I would recommend having at least another person with you, either a bookkeeper or even someone to do your typing or to help you, because you will need that assistance. And, if your workload exceeds, then you need to have more assistance. Continuous marketing. You need to continue to market yourself. You need to maintain content in your SEO professional knowledge. You need to look at case studies, collect testimonials from your clients. You need to have professional development in place, so keep up with your continuing education. Go through the websites, see your SRA updates and what the industry trends are, and join memberships that you are specializing in different areas. It's family law, resolution. If you are doing conveyancing property, don't forget, become a CQS member like I am, which is a conveyancing quality scheme. It's an accreditation by the Law Society. So you also have other memberships with the Law Society, which you need to do. You need to focus on client satisfaction and referrals. They are the most cost-effective way for growth and strategy. So it's not easy. Legal business, administration, marketing, HR, running a firm means you wear multiple hats: solicitor, marketer, accountant, and HR manager. So you can use technology. These days you have lots of technology for these things, so you should use them. Thank you. I hope I've covered them quite a lot. Unless you want me to give you a bit more about my own practice.
That would be very helpful, your own
Okay, when I
examples,
started
yes.
in 99, there was very little help around, and you had to do it yourself. I just went straight in from working with a large firm, and there was no income, but you strived and you build a reputation with local businesses, local clients, local solicitors, and worked with them. And you then build up from there. But one thing I must say is compliance. I will always say compliance, compliance, compliance. See that you have all your compliances in place. Get someone. Initial outlay is fine. It's quite expensive, but have an initial outlay to have your compliance book in place. If you have that, you just have to look at it every time with the SRA and update it. In that way, you will not fall foul of the rules and regulations and principles that are expected of you as a solicitor. So it's a lot of work. I always had staff with me because I felt that I could not do everything. I needed someone to help me to do my day-to-day telephone answering, my accounts bookkeeper, because I couldn't do all that and I was not qualified to do that. I can supervise, and I needed someone qualified to do those things. So that's very important. Don't stress yourself out. Don't work yourself over. Give yourself enough time. Don't try and work over the weekends. Take a break 5 days, 9:30, 5:30, whatever. Try to give yourself time. You will burn out if you're not careful. So I can tell you, after 27 years of practice on my own, I've never regretted it. I've always been so happy having started my own firm. And retention of staff is so important. The staff that work with me have been with me for some over 20 years. And that's so important because they actually carry you through every process every single day. Another thing I want to stress is if your staff makes a mistake, you must remember you are the supervising solicitor. You are there to supervise. You must do it. Do not blame your staff for that. You've got to carry that can. So if you protect your staff, they will protect you. And all I can say is all the very best. But I'm always here if people need to contact me. I'm on the Law Society website and in the local Surrey Law Society too. Thank you.
That was really, really helpful. Thank you so much, Sushila. I think you're also on LinkedIn as well, aren't
Yes, I am
you?
on LinkedIn too.
So people can reach
They
out there
can.
as well.
Welcome.
A very helpful explanation of how to set up your own law firm. Thank you so much. I'm sure people find that very, very useful indeed.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
I would be most grateful if you would please subscribe to my channel here so that I can help grow the channel and reach more people. Thank you so much. Your subscription would be much appreciated.